Welcome, everybody, to the Traders Podcast, episode number 24. And we are really in summertime. It's June. It's hot. I'm in my garage studio. And the last few nights I've been teaching down here, man, it has been a sweat box. So if you see a little sweat dripping from my brow, it's because it's summertime. We're here. And you know what? What a great time to be a trader, and what a great time to do a brand new episode of the Traders Podcast. Very excited to share what I'm about to share with you today in this episode. And this topic is somewhat related to trading because you need this in order to grow as a trader, to get better. And this episode is called You Have the Time. And I'm going to walk you through just a simple exercise to show you that if you're saying to yourself, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, I'm going to show you that you actually do, and that you need to change the script that you are continually repeating to yourself. Because if you're constantly saying that you don't have the time, you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you're actually full of it. So I'm going to call your bluff. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to do Ask a Trader like we always do. We did not have the live Ask a Trader this week. I was a bit under the weather last weekend. It carried into this week. So we'll get back on that next week. So be ready for that. And then, as always, we will take a look at Mr. Roku. And that's what we're going to do in today's episode. And without any further hesitation, let's go to Ask a Trader. Here we go. All right, Ask a Trader. First question, Jeremy, when do you expect the first rate cut from the Federal Reserve in terms of interest rates? And I'm going to put myself on an island on this one. And a lot of people are saying that the inflation reports have been coming in hot, which they have been. The most recent PCE data was a little cooler. But what we're starting to see is some weakening in the job market. We're seeing unemployment claims rise. And we're also seeing manufacturing start to decrease, which is showing some contraction in the economy. And so the Fed has said before, Jerome Powell has said, the chair of the Fed, that, you know, if they see something that is potentially breaking in the economy or signs of it, that they can act with their tools to respond. And so I think what's going to happen is, rather than waiting for a calamity or something disastrous to happen in the economy, like, you know, just a horrible flood of unemployment or people losing their jobs, I think the Fed takes a bit more of a proactive stance. And while I don't necessarily foresee a rate cut this month in June, I'm going to go out on an island and say in July, we will have our first quarter point basis cut from the federal funds rate. And I think that will set the stage for at least 2 more cuts before the end of the year. And if that happens, look out when it comes to your small caps. They're going to rally. But, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty about when the rates are going to be cut. But it's more than just inflation. There are other components of the economy that the Fed is looking at. And so that's my take. That's what I see happening. The next question is, Jeremy, is there a stock that you're watching that is currently under the radar that you feel should be performing at a better level than it is? Yeah, and that's Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR. AI company, has a lot of contracts with the Department of Defense. And really, it's just kind of been chopping around in the $20 range, $18 to $26. I think it hit right before its most recent earnings, an all-time high up in the 40s. But this is a stock that, if it can really get moving, it does have a lot of upside potential. Not NVIDIA potential, right? We're not talking a $1,200 stock, but this thing could make a move. It has the AI play, and there could be an opportunity to grab some of this cheap. So that would be a stock that I would say is under the radar at this point. And then the final question here for Ask a Trader, Jeremy, what is your greatest strength as a trader / investor? And this one's easy for me to answer. I can day trade like an animal. That is what I am best at. If you show me a chart, 3-minute chart, I look at my daily to plan it out, I can get in, get out, grab a profit, and be on my merry way. That is where I excel. Not to say that I don't do well with other types of trading, swing trading. Active investing is really, I mean, that's long term, but I thrive in that day trading setting. I'll give you the flip of it. The one area where I'm working on growing my skill is options trading. So using calls and puts in place of shares for day trades. So I would say that that's one area that I'm just not super comfortable with it yet. I do it from time to time, but my strength overall is I am a day trader. So that's Ask a Trader for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that, got something out of it. And again, we'll be back next week with a live Ask a Trader. So today's topic is about you having all the time in the world that you need to get things done. And I'm going to just do a simple exercise with you to show you exactly how much time that you have. And we're going to work through some values, some calculations, going to use my phone here to just do some simple math. But I often hear all the time, and I used to say this too, and sometimes I do, but I catch myself. I'm like, you know what? You're speaking it into existence. But not only that, it's just not true, because if we're willing to make sacrifices and plan accordingly, we have all the time we need to be able to accomplish whatever it is that we want to get done. Okay. So we have the time, whether that's working on your trading plan. That's one thing that I often hear. Well, I don't have time to back trade or study or to learn. That's garbage. Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or when everybody goes to bed. If you have a family, spend some time back trading, studying. You can find the time to do it. But let's just show empirically with data, with information, that you do in fact have all the time that you need to get things done. And so I have a simple little Google Doc here that we're just going to work through some calculations. So if we talk about a full week, we have 7 days, right? And we have 24 hours in each of those days. All right. So that gives us 7 days times 24 hours. That's 168 hours that we have per week. All right. So that's where we're starting. So let's say that we sleep 8 hours a night. All right. 8 times 7, that's 56. So we're going to subtract 56 hours for sleeping. And let's say that we work, full-time job. Let's give ourselves 10 hours, 5 days a week. Let's minus 50 hours for work. And let me put 50 for work. And let's just do some subtraction here. 168 minus 106. That gives us 62 hours at this point after we've taken care of sleeping and working, right? To the most essential things. So let's say that we have a family. Well, family is going to be involved in things, right? Your kids are going to be in school, or they're going to be with friends, or they're going to be engaged in activities. It's not like you're spending every waking moment with them. The same thing with your spouse. I'm sure they love you very much, but they don't want to be attached to your hip every single day. But let's just allocate during the course of a week that every day we're spending, let's just say 3 hours with our family, friends, kids, spouse. So that's 3 times 7. So that's 21 hours. So 21 hours we got to subtract this, 21 hours spending time with, I'll just put loved ones. And that gives us 62 minus 21. That gives us, hang on, 62 minus 21. I'm using the calculator to make sure I'm accurate here. So that gives us 41 hours remaining. So then let's say we've got eating our meals that we have to do every day. We got showers, all those, necessities. We could probably crank that in about 7 hours, right? So let's give ourselves 7 hours for the essentials. So we'll do 7. This is essentials, right? Eating, bathing, all that kind of stuff. So 41 minus 7, that's 34 hours remaining, right? And so let's say that you like to exercise. Then we have, let's say you do an hour a day. So 7 hours a day for exercise. So let's put exercise here. Let's take 34 minus 7. That gives us 27 hours remaining. And you're getting the picture here, right? We accounted for all these things. We're sleeping 8 hours, we're working 50 hours a week, 21 hours with loved ones, 7 hours essentials, eating, bathing, all that kind of stuff, 7 hours for exercise. And let's just say, hey, we want 7 hours a week for fun. All right, 7 hours for fun. All right. So that brings us down to 20 hours. Okay. And I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anything else out here. Let's just say church, prayer, meditation, your spiritual side, your mental well-being, your inner peace, your spirituality. Let's say that's 7 hours. So 7 hours for spirituality. And that brings us down to 13 hours. Okay. So let's just think about that for a second. We're just talking a week. 13 hours after you factored out sleeping, after you factored out work, after you factored out spending quality time with your loved ones, after you factored out time for essentials, right? Shower, shave, eating, taking care of yourself. After you factored out 7 hours for exercise, after you factored out 7 hours for fun, after you factored out 7 hours for spirituality and taking care of your mental health, your inner peace, you have 13 hours left. All right. And here's the question. What do you, because I'm making a bold prediction here, but I'm almost certain that not everybody out there who watches this podcast is exercising 7 hours per week. Not everybody out there is spending 7 hours meditating, working on their spirituality per week. So this 13 hours is probably a lot more. This 21 hours with loved ones, that might be way lower. Okay. But when you do a simple exercise like this, you're able to see numerically the evidence, the concrete evidence that you actually do have more time than you think that you have. And let's just say, all right, we have 13 hours. Let's say that we are regimented like we put up here on the screen. How can we use that? How can we use this time, right? So let's just say, all right, well, hey, I'm going to devote an hour a day to studying trading or learning a new skill. So that's 7 hours right there. So 7 for trading, learning. That still gives us 6 hours left, right? To do whatever it is that we want. And that might be learning a new language. It might be reconnecting with old friends. It might be whatever it is that you want to do. But the important thing to take away from this is if you are a person who says that I don't have time, stop saying that right now because you're creating that for yourself. And here's the thing. If you work 70 hours per week, 80 hours per week, then you have to take away from some of these other areas, right? But you're still going to have time remaining. If you want to maximize your time, you have to be strategic about it. You have to be intentional about it. You have to break it down by the hours, sometimes the minutes that you're allocating to doing certain things. And here's the truth, the reality. If you really want something, and if you really want to accomplish something, if you really want to make something happen, you will find the time to do it. And the beautiful thing about it, from that exercise that we just did, you have the time to do it. So one of my friends, mentors, who was on the show here a few weeks ago, he told me, he's like, dude, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, I have so much time. I don't know what to do with it. And he's like, he always says that to himself and he believes it. And the same is true for you. And if you look at his schedule is tight, right? And what I mean by tight is he has it allocated. Just like he takes care of his money, he grows his money and allocates his money to investments. He does the same thing with his time because there is no greater asset or resource in your life than your time. And you know what? You have an abundance of it, but you have to take advantage of it and you have to stop saying that you don't have enough of it. You do. I just showed you. Now, what are you going to do with it? And that is the topic for today. And so the final thing we're going to do here today is we're going to take a look at Mr. ROKU and see how he is doing out there in the markets. And, we've had some significant bullishness this week. Things just crushed higher. We made new all-time highs, and we're seeing a little bit of life coming in here from ROKU. And we did break below that support back here. And like we talked about last week, we got saved right at that low that occurred back in October, and we have been grinding higher since then. And something that it's been a while since it happened is we closed above the 10-day exponential moving average. Today, it's looking like we might close above that 20. And so is this the time that we start pushing higher on ROKU? And some of the moving averages we have to keep an eye on to see if this thing is going to push is we do have the 50 simple moving average right here at 59.72. If it could push through that, then the next target would be the 60.95. That's the 50-day exponential moving average. But if it clears that, it has room all the way up to $66, which it hasn't hit that price point since May 14th. And we still have that overhead gap here and that bigger gap above that when we fell on earnings back in February. So ROKU showing some signs of life here. Is the bottom in? We just don't know. We're going to have to keep monitoring it, but it is showing a little bit of progress here. It does help that the rest of the market is going higher, and we'll see. And if we do get that rate cut that I talked about come July, then you'll see companies like ROKU start to take off, and maybe we'll push back up into the hundreds. Who knows? But like I said, we're going to have a celebration episode when ROKU kicks off and starts flying. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for episode number 24 of the Traders Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Make sure you like and subscribe, share with your family and friends. A shout out to all of my amazing coaching students, Emily, Tony, Paul, Vic, Roy, all of you guys. You're just crushing it. Stephanie. And I appreciate you so much. If you're looking to learn more about the markets and you're looking to have a coach, somebody who lives it, does it, just hit me up with a personal message on Facebook. Email me at couragepaysbetter@gmail.com. I would love to teach you how to trade the markets. And that's going to do it. Episode number 24. I'll see you back here next week for episode number 25 of the Traders Podcast here from Courage Pays Better Than Fear Trading. And remember, you have the time. Make it happen, everyone. Love you guys.